Inside this box is one of the greatest aircraft ever developed. And for a kid growing up in the 1980s, it was the subject matter that was everywhere. It was in video games. It was in movies such as The Hunt for Red October. It was in Independence Day in the 1990s. Most recently, Top Gun Maverick. It was in the original Top Gun, and the movie that started it all for me, The Final Countdown. It was on my Trapper Keeper. It was in what I built model airplanes of. It was everywhere. Posters on the wall. It was the airplane that I absolutely loved growing up. A lot of my toys were. Even had micro machines made of this particular aircraft. I built countless models of it. It's always been my #1 favorite. And that started at a very early age, not only with the movie The Final Countdown, but my G.I. Joe that I got in 1983. And I have been waiting almost 39 years till I could have one of these that can fly. If you haven't guessed it already, well, chances are you have because, well, it's in the title of the YouTube video. That's right, it's the F-14 Tomcat, my all-time favorite aircraft. And when I first started learning how to fly RC airplanes, the Tomcat was one that was on my list. It's just, I have to have it. Like, I want to fly one of these. Now, there are other Tomcats that are on the market, but to be honest, I don't have the flight skill to fly them. They're a little bit on the pricey side for me to get into. They require a pretty large area to fly in, and I don't have access to a suitable enough runway to operate them. So I had to sit on the sidelines, and I just kept hoping that maybe someday somebody would make a Tomcat that would be for me. A Tomcat that's attainable, a Tomcat that flies well, a Tomcat that's got safe, it's got AS3X, and really the only one that could do it was E-flite, and they delivered. And here it is. So let's go ahead and get it out of the box here and kind of talk about my first impressions of the aircraft. I'll go into a little bit of the history of it, or a little bit of some of the missions that this aircraft has done, and then there'll be a follow-up video coming shortly, going a little bit more in depth in this particular Tomcat as well as the history of the F-14 Tomcat. But right now, I've waited a long time for this, so I want to go ahead and get it out of the box and share that experience with you. So, all right, before I get it out, this is what it looks like inside here. It's pretty tightly packed in. This box is huge, by the way, for an airplane that's really not nearly as big as you would expect from a box this massive. But this is how it comes when you first pop open the box lid here. So now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and just get it out. But there's not really much unboxing other than just get the airplane out. So just hang on a second here. Let me get this foam out of the way here, and let's get the Tomcat out and talk about it. All right, it's pretty awesome. So let me get this box out of the way here so we can actually get the aircraft down here and really take a look at it here. So hold on one second. All right, so we got it out of the box. It's sitting here on the table. It's totally cool. I'm not gonna lie. It's very cool. The aircraft is, yeah, to actually see it, I've waited, like I said, I've waited a long time. So the airplane was first introduced about a year ago with the launch of RealFlight 9.5S, which is a fantastic way for you to fly the aircraft. It's in RealFlight Evolution as well. And I put my my pre-order in as soon as the order banks opened up, and it's been a little bit of a wait to get it. But now that I have it here and I'm looking at it, it's well worth it. Like I said, this has been one of my dream airplanes forever. It's one of my all-time favorite aircraft. I've had so many model kits, toys, posters, movies, video games, all that stuff, books, you name it. Even my Trapper Keeper in elementary school had an F-14 Tomcat on it. So it's always been one of my favorites. And that picture I showed earlier, that of me getting my G.I. Joe Tomcat, that was 1983. And so I've waited a very long time for one of these that I can fly. And you can definitely tell that's 1983. That's the way the shade carpeting looks, and the pajamas that my parents put me in, that just screams early 1980s. So growing up in that time period, the Tomcat was just such a iconic and special airplane. I mean, it was in everything. It was in my favorite movies. It was literally everywhere. I had so many toys of this thing. And so for me to finally get one that I can fly, it's a dream come true. And only E-flite could have done it in such a way that it brings this aircraft into a skill level that I can fly. It brings it into an attainable price point that I can fly. It's not a gigantic $10,000, $25,000, $50,000 turbine. This is something that I can get into. And the size is very comfortable for me too. It's not huge. In fact, I'll do a size comparison a little bit later with a couple of my other Tomcats so you can kind of get an idea. But it's not a UMX plane. Some people said, oh, it's just a UMX plane. No, it's not. It's a good size aircraft, but it's not the size of aircraft that really kind of freaks me out where I get really nervous. I don't like big, heavy aircraft. Everyone says bigger flies better. I'm just not on board with that. For whatever reason, I do not feel comfortable flying a great big airplane. This one's going to be a challenge because A, it is small, which makes me feel more comfortable, but the problem with being small and gray is that on an overcast day, this is probably not the airplane you want to go to. I learned that with my F-16 when I repainted it all gray and then took it out on a very cloudy day, and it did not take long for me to realize that that was very difficult to see. So the aircraft is finished in the colors of Bullet 100, which is the KEG aircraft. And call sign is Bullet for this one. This is the way it would have flown in Operation Iraqi Freedom, and it dropped more bombs in Operation Iraqi Freedom than any other Tomcat, and that's really kind of its last major event that the Tomcat went through before it was unfortunately retired. And now they only live in museums. And for me, whenever I do go somewhere where they have a Tomcat, I make sure I go see it. There's one at the Air Zoo in Kalamazoo that's an absolutely beautiful Jolly Rogers rendition that was flown to Kalamazoo by Dale Snodgrass, who unfortunately passed away about a year or so ago. There's also one in Ford Island in Pearl Harbor. An absolutely beautiful aircraft there, although it's primed and ready for a restoration. And there's one I saw at Grissom Air Force Base last summer that was currently undergoing restoration. So whenever I go somewhere and there's a Tomcat nearby, I go see them because there'll never be another flying Tomcat in the United States. And going to the air shows as a kid, the Tomcat was the star of the show. Between that and the Warbird, that's what I went for. Some people went for aerobatics and wing walking and all that kind of foolishness, but I could care less about aerobatics and hanging a biplane by a prop and all the noise and stuff they made. Give me a Tomcat any day of the week or a fighter plane and I'm all about it. So I have so many pictures of these things as a kid that I took at an air show with like a disposable 35mm style camera. You put the film in, and the F-14 is about that big on the picture, so almost totally useless. But I was had such a love affair for the aircraft that I just had to take pictures and capture, and I wish I would have had a better camera for me. So a couple things. It is twin engine. It is twin 40mm EDFs in here, so it's not just one unit that kind of ducks out to two. It is actually two 40mm EDFs in there. The wings do sweep. I do not have it programmed yet, so I'm not going to show you the wing sweep, but the wings do sweep. It's got a full extension, it's got a partial, and then a full swept position. And much like the real Tomcat, this does not have ailerons. The real Tomcat used spoilers, flaps, and slats. But unfortunately, this aircraft has none of those on it. It actually uses taileron and to do all the flying. It is a very complex flight control system built on board that handles a lot of the uniqueness, you could say, of what happens to a swept wing aircraft when the wings are in the rear position versus in the front position. You get a significant amount of change in center of gravity, and you get a lot of sensitivity to the aircraft when it becomes more of this this delta wing shape. So it's got a flight controller on it. That flight controller also has AS3X and SAFE. SAFE, I know people say, oh, that's a crutch, don't use SAFE, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I'm not going to listen to any of that crap. I'm going to plan on using SAFE on this. I don't care if that makes me less of a pilot or not. I don't really care. I'm going to plan on hand launching this. I plan on taking the landing gear off and hand launching it. And to do that, I found safe technology is absolutely brilliant. It is like the game changer as you become more experienced as a pilot. You think, well, I don't need safe, that's only for beginners. No, hand launching an EDF with safe is a no-brainer. You activate safe, you go to full throttle, you throw the plane, and it's done. It's just like I've done it over and over and over again on my F-16, and I've had very consistent hand launches every single time. I think the only one time I didn't is because I threw it a little bit of a down angle and I didn't have enough to correct, but the airplane just kind of went, touched the ground, and was fine. No damage done. I've seen so many guys wreck EDFs with a hand toss without safe. For my Tomcat, I'm gonna hand toss this thing in safe, get my hands on the controls, get myself ready to go, do a nice climb out, flip off safe, and be ready to go. It does have the landing gear are installed on it right now. They are removable. They actually did a pretty good job. They're actually fairly stout landing gear for the aircraft, but I don't have a great way of using landing gear with an airplane this size. And plus, if you can't retract the landing gear, a Tomcat looks a little silly with the gear extended. In fact, if you've ever seen one of these on final approach on a carrier with the wings fully extended, the gear down, hooked down and everything, it has kind of a, it's not a very glamorous looking airplane. And so the reason they call this thing the turkey is because it actually looks like a turkey when it comes in. So fitting that it is here just days before Thanksgiving, which is Turkey Day, which is when I usually post a picture of my favorite plane, the Tomcat, also known as the turkey. The battery compartment is underneath the canopy here, so let me pull that off. There we go. It's a little bit far back compared to what I thought it was going to be. I'll show you guys here. There we go. So it uses a 2200 4S battery. Looks like it's going to be a pretty snug fit in there, but shouldn't be any issue at all. So let's go ahead and pop the canopy back on. That'll give enough weight to settle the airplane back down again. A really cool design feature of the Tomcat is breakaway wings. So this plastic panel here actually pops off, and the wings are held with clips on the servo that if you had an incident where you had a strike against one of the wings, it would pop that clip open and allow the wing to freely swing, protect the servo, protect the wing surface, and really kind of protect the aircraft as well. So if you did have an incident with it, it does have that feature built into it that is designed to do that. I think there's some people who've been kind of freaked out that the wing gets loose if you bump it, but that's the way it's actually designed. It's the breakaway feature that I've seen it in action. It's fine. You just simply pop the plastic open, reclip it back on, put the plastic back on again, you're back in the air. So not that I'm worried about that with flying this with safe mode on launch and landing, because that takes care of a lot of that risk factor right there. But once I'm in the air, hopefully you're not gonna run into anything, and you don't have to worry about that breakaway feature. So yeah, it's just I tell you, the more and more I look at it, the more I love it. Hats off to the engineers and designers at E-flite for pulling this off. I mean, honestly, job well done. It is. It's so cool. It really is. As a Tomcat fan, I love it. I just love it. So future plans for the airplane, I don't know yet, honestly. I got a couple different routes that I might go. In fact, I may eventually add a second Tomcat to the collection, because I think to do what I want to do, I may need more than one cat. This one, because of its historical significance of Operation Iraqi Freedom, and dropping the most bombs of every Tomcat, and being the KEG ship, which has the brighter coloring on it, kind of leads me to believe that I should keep this aircraft in this paint scheme, but I would like to weather it a little. Now, the KEG ships are cleaner than the regular pilots would have, so the aircraft would be a little bit cleaner, but it's still going to give it some weathering and make it look like it has been definitely flying in battle. May look at 3D printed glove pylons, and since this technically was a bomb cap that it carried laser guided precision bombs underneath, I could do a pylon with a lantern targeting pod on it and sidewinders rather than the traditional loadout, which would have been 2 AIM-9 sidewinders and 2 AIM-7 Sparrows. So that's one route I could go. The other route I thought about doing is repainting the entire aircraft in light gall gray and white and giving it the classic Jolly Rogers look from the final countdown. So not sure which I'm going to do yet. Like I said, there's a good chance I may have to end up with 2 of these at some point because, well, you can never have too many cats. And that goes for flying Tomcats, model Tomcats, or even in my house, actual cats. So yeah, it's awesome. I just can't. I'm just totally in shock that it's finally here sitting on my bench. Unfortunately, no flying footage for a while. Winter has arrived. Like I said, it's just about Thanksgiving here, and winter's here, and it gets too dark too fast to be able to get outside and fly the aircraft. So it's going to probably have to wait till spring, which is fine, because it's been about a month since I've flown, and I'm starting to already tell I'm probably getting a little too rusty to fly something like this. It is skill level 3. They do recommend some experience. This is not your first EDF by any means. This is not a trainer plane. This is not what you start off with. So knowing that, I'm going to probably take it a little bit easy next spring on when I actually get the aircraft in the air, just to make sure that I give myself the maximum amount of skill to fly it, and which is fine because that gives me more time to play around with it, add some decals to it, add some weathering, add some painting, and make it a flying scale model, which is what I love to do. But yeah, I think I'm going to stop rambling on about this thing and just kind of sit here and look at it. But I'm just shocked. So thank you, E-flite. Thanks for everyone at Horizon that brought this aircraft to life. You guys have done an absolutely awesome job. It is everything that I could have hoped for. Well, maybe the Jolly Rogers paint scheme would have been the only thing I would have done differently, but you guys did awesome. It's just awesome. I can't even say enough good words about it. So hopefully it flies as well as it looks. But I know for now that it will sit here in the winter and be all nice and warm in the house and wait till springtime where I'll get the airplane out and fly it and share my experiences with it. So if you guys got any questions on the F-14 Tomcat, both the E-flite model or just the Tomcat in general, please leave your comments below, and I'm more than happy to talk Tomcat with anyone who wants to, because like I said, it's one of my all-time favorite aircraft, and in my opinion, one of the greatest aircraft ever designed. And we'll never see one fly in the United States again, and so we have to live with our RC airplanes if we ever want to see one. But I am looking forward to getting this in the air and flying my own Tomcat. I have waited a very long time, waited since the age of 4 to have my own that I could fly, and it is finally here. Thank you, E-flite.